Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm filming a Q&A answering your burning questions. I've had a new Q&A requested many times on my Instagram and here on YouTube, so I thought that I would film another one. So as always, I got you guys to ask me questions over on my Instagram. If you guys aren't following me over there, you absolutely should. It means you have the opportunity to ask me some questions if you like, and you get to see me day to day, which lucky you. I also have myself a coffee to drink to keep this interesting. So before we get started, this knit is from Nasty Gal. Earrings, I don't know. Glasses are Oscar Wilde, and I filmed this makeup look. It may already be up, or if it's not, I will link it when it is. But this is Kmart makeup. So that are all the questions I think I will get. So let's get into the pre-asked questions. All right, let's scroll all the way. Geez, there's lots of questions. So the first question is, how did you meet your partner? I don't know whether I should save this for an entire video on its own, but I doubt I'll be doing a dedicated boyfriend video anytime soon. So I might speckle a few boyfriend questions in here. We met at Mississippi in Double Bay, so we met at a bar. Someone asked, what sort of self-care things do you do when you're having a low self-esteem day? I definitely pamper, and if I'm having a low self-esteem day, I always train. Exercise for me is so therapeutic. It's so good for my mental health. So I absolutely always train. I'll try and go for a walk. I love doing face masks, and I just basically spend the day however I want to spend it. I think it's really important on those kinds of days to listen to yourself, listen to whatever your body or your mind or your emotions is asking for, and just do it. Trying to push those feelings aside is never going to work. Like dusting it under the rug, it's always just going to come back to bite you. So address it head on straight away, and then you can move past it quicker. Someone asked, do you regret anything you did/didn't do on Love Island? No, I don't know whether people, there's two things when I think of when people ask this question. The first one is, do I regret coupling up with Grant, knowing now that he had a girlfriend the entire time? No, because it's what I wanted to do at the time. I never would have known that he had a girlfriend. And it wouldn't make sense for me to not couple up with him unless I did know that information, and there was no possible way that I ever could. And then I'm guessing people again maybe wonder if I regret picking Grant in the last week. Again, no, because it's exactly what I wanted to do at the time. I was upset, I was hurting, and it's exactly what I wanted to do. So I don't regret anything. I wouldn't change anything because it's the experience that I was meant to have, and yeah, I wouldn't change anything. If you could be friends with any celebrity, who would it be and why? Ryan Reynolds, because he's hands down the funniest person to exist. Like, I love his personality, and I love his sense of humor, and I love the relationship that he has with Blake Lively. And I honestly think he would just be the coolest person to hang out with. And yeah, Ryan Reynolds, oh my gosh, absolute dream come true. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I feel like living somewhere in Europe would be fun. Maybe like Greek islands. Like, I think that would be so much fun. I feel like you'd get sick of it pretty quickly, but somewhere in Greece could be nice. Living in LA would be fun, or New York. Do you like horror movies? I love horror movies. I sometimes regret watching them, and I never watch a horror movie without watching something happy afterwards. So I'll watch a couple of episodes of Friends or something like that. Especially if I'm watching a horror movie at night, I need to watch something happy afterwards, otherwise I'll have nightmares. What was your favorite subject in high school? I loved PE, obviously. PE is the best subject ever. And I also loved English. I really enjoyed it, but I think that's as well, I really loved my English teacher. So yeah, English and PE. Do you still talk to your Love Island castmates? I'd say I talk to maybe 60%. Obviously the ones that I wasn't, well no, that's a lie, because Taylor and I are friends now, but like, I think it's a shorter list of who I don't speak to. I don't speak to Eden, boy Eden, Jax, Teddy, Grant, John James. That's pretty much it. They're the 5 that I don't really speak to. I pretty much, oh, and Tash. No love lost there. Can absolutely go without those lot. Yeah, some of them I'm really close with, some of them I speak to all the time. Others, it's just every now and again. I might see them at events, but I'd say I'm pretty lucky with the relationships that I come off Love Island with. Especially us girls, we all do, well, I like most of them, so yeah. Are you a tea or coffee girl? To be honest, I only just started drinking coffee maybe a month or 2 ago. I love my teas at night. I love English breakfast tea. My boyfriend's English, so I needed to like English breakfast tea. But I love my herbal teas at night. They're my favorite thing. And I quite enjoy coffees now as sort of like a social thing. I went and got a coffee just now with a girlfriend. So have you met any of the lifeguards from Bondi Rescue? I don't think I've met any of them, but there was one that was constantly in my DMs there for a little while, like constantly asking if he could take me out on a date. And for ages I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? And then I was literally watching Bondi Rescue one night and I was like, oh my god, it's him. What's your favorite alcoholic beverage? All right, I know they always say that gin girls are crazy, and hey, maybe they are, but I am a gin girl now. I used to drink, I don't enjoy alcohol. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like wine. I don't drink casually at dinner. I sort of just drink on a social occasion to when I'm around friends, and it's about 5 times a year. I could comfortably give up alcohol for the rest of my life. I don't really like it that much, and I hate the hangover. I genuinely don't think alcohol is worth it, but it is a very social thing. I don't ever feel pressured to drink. I enjoy the experiences that I have with my friends whilst drinking, but I also love the experiences I have with my friends sober. So keep that in mind. Like, don't ever feel pressured to drink. Don't ever feel pressured to not drink. Make your own decisions. Drink responsibly. Make sure you're drinking at the legal limit, or at the legal age, I should say. But I used to drink vodka because growing up, sort of vodka is liquor of choice. But in the last couple of years, I started drinking gin because I feel like it is a lot smoother in cocktails. I feel like you really taste vodka. More expensive vodka, you don't taste it. But gin, I feel like is a lot smoother and a lot more pleasant in cocktails. So there is a bar in Bondi called Bondi Hardware. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would know I fucking love that place with all my heart and soul. They do the most incredible food. Their cocktails are incredible. If you're a margarita person, I know a lot of people love margaritas. Their margaritas are one of the best margaritas in Sydney. So my margarita friends have told me. So keep that in mind. But yes, they do this thing called a Bondi in Bloom. And it's got gin, elderflower, lemon, cucumber. I don't know what else. But it is just divine, to die for, heavenly, and it is incredible. And the atmosphere there is amazing. The service is always incredible. So yes, that's my favorite cocktail, or that's my favorite drink. If you could be any Friends character, which one would you be and why? I would definitely be Rachel because I love Jennifer Aniston, and I also love Rachel's character. I feel like she grows really well throughout the series. She's young and immature and irresponsible and just lives her best life, and she slowly grows up and gains maturity and responsibility and ends up doing really freaking well in life. Like, she ends up being a bowler in the fashion industry, and I just love her character. She's probably the most popular character on the show, and Jennifer Aniston out of the entire cast has done the best career-wise, so God bless Rachel and Jennifer Aniston. Does it cost like an arm and a leg to live in Sydney? Your apartment, groceries, etc. Sydney is most definitely much more expensive than Melbourne. I think it's the most expensive city in Australia, absolutely. Groceries are 100% more expensive. Rent, 100,000 million% more expensive than Melbourne. What I'm paying for my 1-bedroom apartment, I would pay less for a 2-bedroom in Melbourne. Like, my 2-bedroom apartment that I moved out of to move to Sydney is cheaper than where I'm living now. I'm also living in a very posh lush suburb. I chose that just because I didn't know Sydney all that well, and so I wanted to I deliberately chose a more expensive suburb because I knew that it would be safe. And then obviously once I got to know Sydney more, I could move out of this suburb once I felt comfortable and got to know other suburbs. But I've fallen in love with the suburb that I live in, and I absolutely love it. What made you and Taylor reconnect / become close? There's a lot of this question in there. So as you guys know, Taylor and I have we had a very troubled start to our relationship. But to be honest, the first few days that Taylor and I were in Love Island, we actually got along quite well, especially in the dark days where we weren't filming. We spent a lot of time together, so I always knew that we got along well and like our personalities meshed well. But as you guys know, when boys get involved, you get very competitive, it gets very catty, all sense of logic and thinking goes out the window, and it's natural to happen. Obviously I was scorned because I lost the fight between Taylor and Grant, and it is what it is, and Taylor and I wound up hating each other. But I think a lot of that hate was just fueled by the environment. So obviously the show loved drama, the show loved that there was a feud, so it's not that they always encouraged it, but guys, when you like a guy and you have to watch him move on with another girl, and you literally live in the same house as them, it's always going to be a tough environment. I know everyone says like you were only with him for a week, but a week's a long time in that villa, and it is what it is. Like I fucking hated it in there. I hated watching them. Even when I realized I didn't actually like Grant that much and he kind of really fucking annoys me, it was still shit. I think we just realized one day that we're both very strong, independent women, and there was one person completely unrelated to Love Island that was saying bad things about both of us to each other and really being a bad person. And the beautiful thing was, kind of like what happened on the show when Taylor and I sat down and spoke about what Grant had been saying to both of us, we got together because we both felt that it wasn't right, the things that we were hearing about the other person, and we felt like it was responsible for both of us to tell each other. And then that's when we realized like this person had been saying bad things about me, and she realized that person had been saying bad things about her. And then that's literally just what it came from. Taylor and I don't know, we just progressively, like, we had coffee that morning, confronted this person, and then we sort of just started hanging out after that. She's one of my best mates. I love her. She's such a great person, and I really am grateful that she's one of the people I'm grateful that I met in Love Island. And it's not a perfect love story. Like, we hated each other at one point, and now we're great friends. And I don't know, I think it's a great story. So that's how we came about. What foundation / BB cream do you use? At the moment, I've fallen back in love with the Zoeva Luminous foundation. I'll put photos of it on the screen here. That is incredible. I used that quite a few months ago and then started using new things, and I've recently started using it for when I need to shoot content. And I've fallen back in love with it and had one of those moments where I was like, why did I ever stop using this? Absolutely love that. I also love the Dior, I think it's called Face and Body. Really, really nice. And then the Tarte Hydra Tint stuff. That's also incredible for more natural days. That's a really, really beautiful, like, tinted moisturizer. Someone's asking, would you ever bat for the other team? And she's also asking a lot of other questions. No, I definitely had a bit of a, I wouldn't say crisis, but I definitely questioned it in high school because I was going through a phase where I would get a boyfriend, they would fall for me and sort of drop the L-bomb, and I would freak out. I was the boy in the relationship. I would get cold feet and break up with them. And I remember I asked my dad one day, this was right before I got into my serious relationship with my first boyfriend. I asked my dad, I was like, would you still love me if I was a lesbian? And I remember he gave me the weirdest look, and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know, like, would you still like me? And he was like, yeah, just don't do it in front of me. That was literally his, he didn't even blink at me potentially coming out to him. He was literally just like, just don't make out with your girlfriend in front of me. As I would expect, don't make out with your boyfriend in front of me. And that's just one of the things I love about my dad. Like, didn't even question that I was potentially saying I'm a lesbian. He was just like, just don't I don't want to see it. Have I ever had a threesome? No. Cats or dogs? Cats. I do love dogs, don't get me wrong. They're always so happy. And I love that the energy they bring into the room and all that good stuff. But I like cats for many reasons. I feel like cats are more appropriate for apartments. Cats truly are a companion, as contrary to what a lot of people say that they're evil pets. As you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you know how sweet a soul Honey is. And I honestly look at her every single day and think how grateful I am that she is a part of my life, because pets, no matter what type of pet they are, just really do have such a big impact. And cats are so underrated. They are the best creature in the entire world and I love them. Are you religious? I wouldn't say I'm religious. I've never really gone to church or anything like that, and I only did like a little bit of RE in high school, like the earlier years. I did struggle with this quite a lot when my dad passed away, because my first question was like, if there is a God, why would he take someone so pure like my dad when there's so many bad people in the world? So that was the way I was feeling towards faith and religion at that point. And to be honest, I don't think I'll ever let that go 100%. I will never fully understand why my dad was taken when there are some really shitty people in the world. But I do believe that there is a greater being that we all came from. I don't really know what that is. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? To be honest, I would say applying for Love Island, because that is so not something I would have done. Especially sending in the video audition, because there's like 3 written, like you fill out like a questionnaire, and then you fill out a more detailed questionnaire, and then like the third, and if you get through the first 2, then the third round is like a video about yourself. And I should share that one day. It's a bit awkward, like it's so cringe, but your audition tape. And sending that in was such a spontaneous thing. Like it took a lot of courage for me to do that. So I'd have to say that. What's your favorite rom-com? Is To All the Boys I've Loved Before a rom-com? I'd say it's a rom-com. It makes me laugh. But to All the Boys I've Loved Before is my favorite movie, like favorite chick flick movie. I've easily watched that 15 times. Probably more actually. I just really enjoy that movie. I also love The Longest Yard. Adam Sandler is one of my favorite actors. Jason Bateman is also another favorite actor. Jennifer Aniston, another favorite. So pretty much any movie with them in it, I love. Do you think Australia and New Zealand borders will open up to each other, and is it a good idea? Honestly, right now, no. We're literally about to spike again because of... It was bound to happen anyway, whether people want to blame it on... I can't believe the government's heavily blaming this on families right now, but whether the government wants to blame it on the protests or families, we were always going to have another outbreak and a respike. It was always going to happen. A lot of countries that are ahead of us, sort of in the timeline of this, they all had re-outbreaks, and this was before the protests and everything. So no, I don't think it's a good idea. We're definitely not past this point yet, and the less travel people are doing, the easier it will be to maintain and to contain and fix and resolve. If you didn't go on Love Island, what would be your next choice of TV show you would apply for? I never watched reality. I still don't even to this day watch reality TV, and I've been on a reality show. I would never applied for any other reality show. To be honest, I don't even know why I applied for Love Island. I was just heavily single and thought I'd give it a crack. If I were to apply or like want to get onto a TV show, it would probably be Home and Away. If you guys don't know, I study acting. I'm in drama school and I want to be an actress, so Home and Away would absolutely be a goal of mine. What happened to you and Erin from Love Island? This gets asked all the time. I don't know whether people realize, like, we live in different cities in different states. We talk all the time, like a few times a week. We are constantly talking, kind of. We just can't see each other anymore because Erin's petrified of flying, so she won't fly to Sydney. Plus we've been in the middle of a pandemic, so she can't anyway. And then every time I go to Melbourne, she is her grandma's full-time carer, so she's quite busy. She has her hands full. but nothing's happened to us. We're still very good friends. We're just geographically challenged, I guess. Oh, Carolyn has asked, hi Carolyn, do you know much about love languages and know what one is best for you / your boyfriend? Me and my boyfriend recently talked / realized we have very different ones. It was interesting. Okay, so the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. So I know for a fact my 2 are acts of service and quality time. And I'm gonna say that that is my partner's as well. We are affectionate people, but the way we show love to each other, or the way we feel love to ourselves, is when someone gives up their time or when someone does something for us. So like when me and my partner first started dating, he would go to work in the morning, and because I was there the night before, he wouldn't do the dishes. And I knew that he was like that. I knew he wasn't doing them because he didn't want to waste time doing dishes when I was there visiting. So before I left in the morning, I would always do his dishes, and he always used to really appreciate that. And he was always so grateful that I would do that for him. Would you ever get a second cat or pet in general? No, I would love to get a second cat for Honey. Just seeing how she was with Milo, my niece's cat, when we were isolating down in Victoria, it honestly made me so happy and surprised to see her so accepting to another cat. I honestly never thought that she would play with another cat, but she loved it, and it made me really sad to separate them when we came back to Sydney. But also having 2 cats is a lot. That's a lot of kitty litter poop. That's it. Just a lot of cats for one apartment. I just don't think it's I personally don't want that. Honey's fine, like she's rocking on her own, and I'm enough for her. I'm all Honey needs. What products do you use in your hair? Virtue and Olaplex are incredible hair care brands. 100% recommend them. Thoughts on body positivity? I don't really know what this person means. I don't know. I guess it would be great if body positivity was a more natural thing and not something that it has to be taught to women. I feel like the media has done a lot of damage in the last 10 to 15 years that we're sort of working through that now. I do feel like there are certain people on social media that do a lot of damage to young girls' self-esteem. There's a lot of editing, Photoshop, filters, and there's not a lot of disclosing that they're doing that, and I absolutely don't agree with that, which is why I make a conscious decision to not use filters when I story, and I don't face tune anything on my face or my body. And I think that that should be a lot more common and normal on social media, and unfortunately it's not. But you need to be selective and choose wisely who you follow, and realize what kind of impact the people you're following have on your self-esteem. Really random, but what food did they feed you on Love Island? So it was all catered food. So in the mornings we got to make our own breakfast, and then lunch and dinner was all like catered. It was sort of just on a rotation of different proteins each night. So it'd be like chicken, fish, steak, pork, chicken, fish, steak, pork, and it would literally rotate, and then the sides and the veggies would all be the exact same. And then every now and again we got to do barbecues because we begged them to let us have barbecues every week. Would you pose for Playboy nude for 500,000 USA? No, because I don't judge any woman that does it, but for me, you can't get those photos back. You can't get that privacy back, and no amount of money can get that back, because once something's out on the internet, it's out forever. And to me, my privacy of my body means a lot more to me than $500,000. So absolutely not. What makes your long distance relationship worth it? How did you meet? To me, I feel like it's a very, I don't know how other people enter long distance relationships, but I absolutely wouldn't enter a long distance relationship if I didn't think that this was the man that I was going to be with forever. Long distance relationships are very testing on your emotions, on your life. It can be very consuming because they're tough. They are very, very tough. Same country long distance relationships are hard, but international long distance relationships are incredibly hard. So I would not have entered into this relationship if I didn't think I was going to marry this man. Absolutely not. And I think that's a conversation that needs to be had before you enter it. Not like, are we going to get married? But you need to both have the same mutual end goal, that one is going to move to the other country. Like you both need to know that when the long distance is going to end, and you both need to know who's going to sacrifice and make the move, and you both need to be committed to make it work and know that this is going to last forever. If any of those questions are left unanswered, it can be a very slippery slope. I would never have entered this long distance relationship if any of those questions were left unanswered. What motivates you in life and keeps you genuinely happy? Honestly, like, I lost my dad to cancer, and he was so young when he died. He was only 53. And it would be incredibly wasteful and ungrateful of me if I didn't live my life to the fullest and wake up and take care of my body and do everything I possibly could to get the best and the most out of this life when he lost his life so young and to such a crippling disease. So I honestly, it's having to watch my dad die. Like, I would never wish it on anyone, and it did remind me that life is short. He was such an incredible man, he was such a good man, and it just reminded me that anything can happen. And so until my number is up, I'm gonna do the best I can in this life. I'm gonna be the best person I can. I'm gonna continuously learn. I'm gonna keep listening. I'm gonna be open and understanding and forgiving, and I just want to be the best version of myself that I can be. I never want to be too harsh or critical, and I just genuinely want to look for the best in the world and in people. On that note, I do want to touch on the Black Lives Matter movement. This is something that I've been quite vocal about on my Instagram. It's incredibly upsetting to see everything going on and continue to go on, even with the riots and the protests happening. The fact that this discrimination is still occurring every single day is disgusting, and it just shows that, like, our fight is nowhere near over. Like, we still have a long road ahead of us. And you know what? It was very confronting to learn that I lived with something my entire life that I was completely unaware of, and that is my white privilege. And I feel like it is a very, very, very big responsibility of mine to educate myself on it and to be aware of it, and for me to realize that it is not a person of color's responsibility to educate me on my white privilege. It is also a very, very, very big privilege to say that I'm exhausted and emotionally drained from all this negativity and racism and, like, learning all these new things. Like, that is such a privilege, because there are people of color that deal with this shit every single day and they can't switch off from it. They can't just log off social media for a few days to take a break. They're living through it, and I couldn't even imagine how the fuck that would feel. I'm gonna leave a few links to charities and organizations that I have personally donated to, petitions that I've signed. Tony Taylor, her murderers are still have not been charged. Out of the 3 police officers, only 1 has been fired, and that's literally all that's happened. So a lot of work still needs to be done there. Also, Elijah, beautiful soul Elijah, this one really, really, really upsets me. I look into his eyes, into his beautiful photos, and I just think he was such a sweet soul, and it frustrates me that his life was taken. Even reading the statement of his last words, it just makes me angry. So we need to get justice for Elijah as well. Once you read up on Elijah, you will understand why I'm so emotional about him. I can imagine, like, every single person whose life was taken absolutely doesn't deserve it. Whether they were running away from police, whether they had convictions against them, or whether they were just fucking walking home, no one deserves to die from police brutality and racism. Anyway, I'm gonna leave some links down in the description box. Petitions that you can sign. If you are in America, don't forget to vote. I don't want to overstep my boundaries here, but I'm seeing a lot of American influencers that I follow really encouraging you guys to vote. So I just want to encourage any of you guys in America to vote. You do have a say, and you can play a big role in changing some things going on in your country right now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I didn't mean to get all weird and emotional, but it's definitely something that we needed to talk about on here. So don't forget to educate, keep reading, keep learning, keep listening. Don't forget to speak up. If a conversation is hard to have, it's probably a conversation that needs to be had. So look at it that way. It is hard to call out friends and family and people, bystanders that are racist or make racist remarks. It is really hard to do that, but you need to do it because they won't learn until they're told off. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for asking all your questions. This is an incredibly long video, but I will see you all very, very soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, let me know down in the comments what you would like to see from me. But other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye guys.